Hey, this is Will Lowry, and Anil and I did our project on the Pacific Northwest. The Pacific Northwest, which is sometimes referred to as Cascadia, is a geographic region in western North America. Um, that's essentially the area between the Pacific Ocean, bordered on the left, all the way across to the Rocky Mountains on the east. Um, It's mainly consists of Oregon, Washington, and the British Columbia province of Canada. But it can also be, you could also be talking about Alaska, Northern California, Idaho, Western Montana, Western Wyoming, just name a few of the other neighboring areas that can be grouped in with it. Populations, the biggest populations in this region, Seattle at 3.7 million people, Portland at 2.5 million people, and Vancouver at 2.4 million people. And it's an intriguing area for median household income, with the number one spot in the nation of Seattle at 80,000, which is up significantly from 2014, as well as Portland, which comes in at number three with 61,000. The economic outlook for the Pacific Northwest is extremely positive. You can see some highlights here from the Urban Land Institute. There's a large pool of educated labor in the area, the professional, technical, and business services fields. There's also, as we just talked about, the median household income and income and population are both growing at a great deal. And there's relatively affordable housing is positive for the area, although in Portland specifically, the home price appreciation is number one in the nation. The demand is far outpacing the supply, which is causing a huge spike in those prices. But just in general, it's a higher quality of life. It's a growing area that's thriving and has a great outlook in the years to come. The Pacific Northwest is particularly popular among millennials. Um, in a poll of millennials, Seattle came in at number three, and Portland came in at number four in a list of the most desired cities to live in, each of them getting over 9% of the vote. It was particularly high among females. Seattle came in number two on the list for females. Seattle's the only area on the list with a highly rated public school system. And another thing that kind of makes it a desirable area to millennials and younger generations is the recent legalization of recreational marijuana and medical, obviously. And not only is that desirable for some millennials and folks of that nature, but it also provides a lot of tax revenue dollars for the states, with a tax of 37% on cannabis in Washington and 20% in Oregon. Investment in the Pacific Northwest has grown a great deal in recent years. In 2015 alone, there was $2.4 billion invested in the region, and that represented 1.9% of venture capital funds invested across the entire world. And also, median pre-money valuations have increased 2.5 times since 2011. So obviously, a lot of money coming in. It's an area that's getting a lot of attention, not just across the nation, but across the world, becoming a place for people to put their financial assets to work. You can see here a breakdown of where those investments went. By far and away, the largest sector here is software, with over 800 million invested in that sector across 146 different deals. And the second largest sector there would be the other, which gets encompasses a lot of different ones left out of this picture here. But outside of the other, the next biggest one that you're looking at from a dollar count standpoint would be pharmaceuticals and biotech, with over 400 million invested there. And there's also some good investment in commercial services, healthcare, IT, media. So pretty condensed there in the software, and then after that, pretty good spread. From a residential standpoint, real estate in the Pacific Northwest is extremely hot. Pretty much any analytics source you want to look up has stats that'll show the price appreciation in this area is extremely strong, especially in the metro areas. And you can see there in Portland, based off of their 7.5% price appreciation against the national average of 2.7%. That's a tremendous difference. So very strong residential market in this area. Commercial real estate in the region has seen really significant growth in the last few years. You can see there's been steady increases in sales prices for all of the multifamily, office, and retail asset classes from 2013 to 2016. Although plateauing has been noticed in these asset classes since Q4 of last year. So, there's kind of run out of some areas to build, and the denser downtown regions are starting to grow, in some of the more spread out areas within the region. So starting to see some headwinds there, but still been really strong up to date. You can see here a number of really strong economic indicators for the area. Portland and Seattle had the largest year-over-year rent growth in the entire nation, number one and number two, respectively. And they outpaced the national average by double. And they also outpaced the 8-year average by 3.5 times. So that's significant rent growth in recent years for the area, and decreases in vacancy, and really stable absorption rates. So really strong from a rental standpoint. For all the success and appreciation that the Pacific Northwest region has experienced in recent years, there are certainly still some areas of concern to keep in mind. With the software industry being so heavily dependent in the area, you do worry about the cyclicality of that business cycle and of business cycles in general. There's also a very large amount of Chinese investors with global monetary policy, with a number of factors impacting it, and everyone keeping their eye on that. There's always uncertainty there, certainly with the Chinese, and because of the home price appreciation being so great, I think there's probably some of that at the cause of the number there for 45% of the population are renters in the area rather than owners. So, compressed cap rates, and also with the physical challenges that can present themselves over there on the Pacific Coast. There are some areas to always keep in mind for the Pacific Northwest, but for the most part, it's been really healthy growth, and still a really positive outlook ahead.